All right, let's call the meeting to order. The Elmwood Park Village Caucus for 2025. Let's do a roll call. Gasser?
Whittick.
Hinkle.
Sam? Okay, everyone's in attendance. If we could please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so today we are starting with the selection of caucus chairs and 2 certifiers in the 2025 Village Caucus. I'd like to select 2 caucus chairs for today, or 2 certifiers, I suppose. Kelly Stein and Linda Stubbe, could I ask both of you to be the caucus chairs since you're not front? Now I'm going, so Kendall, did you get that? Kelly Stein, Linda Stubbe. Thank you. We need nominations for 3 Board of Trustee positions. This is a 2-year term for $2,000 a year. Coming to board meetings once a month, and whenever we need to. Do I have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Laura Root.
Laura
for
Rudy
trustee.
for trustee.
Nominated by,
Kathy Wells.
thank you.
I would like to nominate Ken Hinkle.
Wait, I have to have a second, I'm sorry.
Oh, a second?
Yep,
Okay, a
is
second.
anyone second?
Second.
Second by Brian Johnson. I'd like to nominate Ken Hinkle for trustee.
I'll second.
I would like to nominate Mark Whittick.
Second. Okay. Second by Stein.
Wait, second, please.
By Stein. We have any other nominations for trustee positions? Okay, moving on to nominations for the village president position, which is a 2-year term at $6,000 a year.
I'd like to nominate Alicia Gasser for president. I'm Charles Gasser.
I'll second.
Who was the second?
Laura Rudy. Any other nominations for village president? Okay, and the meeting is adjourned. On our January 9th board meeting. Public comments and input? Okay. I'd like someone to make a motion to consent the agenda from the meeting of December 5th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to consent the agenda.
First by Stein, second by trustee Studi. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so passed. Okay, moving on to reports. We'll see if the sheriff, we did make a phone call to the sheriff, so they may be here. We have not seen the sheriff in many months, someone from the sheriff's office, so they are supposed to be here. I know it's a short meeting. I hope they show up before the end, so we'll get back to them if they come. President's report, I just have 2 things to talk about. The water sewer bill agreement that we've all seen, and you all read the letter. Mark Kingston, our attorney, sent it out. It was sent to our ad hoc committee as well, so everybody has seen it. The city had so many days, they had 10 business days in which to respond, and it was sent certified. Hello. And it did not, nobody responded from the city. Didn't hear a beep. So Mark has sent a second letter, also certified, to Attorney Letney in the city of Racine to ask, you know, it's coming to an end, like this is where it would run out, and we just like to stay status quo of where we are. The same letter, but just to make sure that they saw it, and we still have not heard a word. So I'm just letting you know. There's not really anything to report, and if there is anything, I will bring it back to the February meeting, and hopefully not anything that we'll have to talk about.
Days or what?
I am not certain this exact date that it actually got sent, but it was sent probably last week, so I would say probably by the end of this week, if not early next week. So, also, Letiria and Terry, we're going to do a walkthrough of the siding of the windows just to double check everything. Jeff Klimick actually stopped in the office to pay his taxes and had some experience with windows and was noticing some things he didn't really appreciate. So I did ask him if he wanted to walk through with them because I feel like he has the knowledge base that maybe Terry doesn't and Latiria doesn't. So the three of them are going to do a walkthrough and then get back to Siting Unlimited if there's anything we disagree with or anything that needs to be cleaned up or changed.
Has that invoice been paid yet, Deciding Unlimited?
Not until
Okay.
everything is done.
It's approved, okay.
Yeah. And then Latiria will have more to talk about. So I'm going to move on. I'm actually going to go back to the sheriff. Would you like to share any reports
We don't have any reports or updates at this time.
about anything in the village?
I was just instructed last minute to come here. so
Okay.
I don't have any,
So we have a meeting the second Thursday of every month. We have not had anyone from the sheriff's department since last February show up at a meeting. So we need to make sure that, and I've talked to Carrie Madrigal, our administrator has, we'd really like someone here representing with a report every meeting that we have.
okay, what kind of reports would you guys like?
What's going on in the village, what have we seen, what traffic violations, any concerns, but we had an apparent assault in August. We'd like updates. We used to get updates all the time from the sheriff, and as of right now, we haven't seen anyone. So
Okay.
please make sure that,
I'll pass that along to Madrigal.
thank you, she's aware.
Okay,
But just tell her the board is displeased. So we would really like you to come to our meetings. And if we change the date of the meeting, we will certainly let you know. They don't change very often, but once in a while they do. They get pushed back to the next Thursday. But we do need someone from the sheriff's department showing up with a report of what's going on in the village. We have lots of traffic violations. We had an accident here the other day. We've had several accidents on Taylor and Lathrop. We need to know what's going on.
okay.
Okay? Thank you. You can go if you don't have anything to
All right, you sure?
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you.
Board, is there anything else you want to say? Okay.
Thank you.
Teacher mode.
That was very teacher of me, I'm sorry.
Pretty good.
But seriously, they have not been here since
I
February.
know her well, I can call her too.
Yeah, well, she said we were gonna have somebody here. Sorry, that was very teachery of me, now you know that. But it's disappointing that he didn't have any report. And they told us in the sheriff's department that they would bring someone here with a report, and he's like, I have nothing to say.
Well, it said that he had to come in here and he didn't know what he was assigned to do. And so, I mean, I'm sure
She said it was last minute too.
Yeah,
But that means that they had no intention of ever sending anybody here.
Right.
right.
So that is.
I feel bad.
Yeah,
for him.
so we need to make sure we email Carrie Madrigal and just say, our officer had nothing to report, because he didn't even know he was supposed to be here, so what's going on?
And he doesn't know what.
I can-
Sorry, sir, I know that was on you, but, oh well. Moving on, trustee Hinkle.
I'm sure they'll be.
Nothing to report.
Okay, trustee Johnson?
Can you report?
Now you're all scared.
I mean, it was so bad that, Laura didn't even say thank you for your shirt. Be careful out there, but as far as I'm not saying anything.
I'm just really disappointed that they brought nothing here. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Trustee Rude,
First time in 6 years, or Laura didn't even say it. Shocked.
shame on you, Ally. I am disappointed.
I don't have anything to report at this time, but I wanted to ask Ken, did you want to update on any of those streetlights?
Oh, yeah, so even though it's not officially in my realm, I did look into that. Getting, basically solar-powered, battery-powered streetlights. And from what I gather, it's just too darn cold.
Oh,
So the batteries that they use for those, they're just,
They're for Florida and Arizona.
Yeah. so
too cold
it's just
here.
too
Got
cold
it.
here to do
Okay.
solar-powered lights like that. Now, obviously, we can have solar-powered lights in our, our lawns or whatever, but for an actual commercial use like that, from what I gather, it's just
No.
too cold.
Liable. Okay.
I looked into it,
Thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
all right, trustee Judy? Oh, I missed, well, yeah, trustee's done. You're next.
No report.
Trustee Judy?
Just currently, we're going to be working on dates for all the events for 2024. Nothing is set in stone 25. nothing set yet. I'm hopeful that at the next meeting we'll have the whole year planned,
Great.
which should be great.
And Barb would have sent me the dates for Mount Pleasant.
Yes.
Did you get them yet? Or no? I will send them to you, because I think you sent them to me. So I'll send them.
Okay.
I made myself
That
a
way we can work around Mount Pleasant so we don't have.
the
kids that
same,
have the same night.
yeah. Trustee Whitick,
Nothing to report.
Administrator Shaw.
All right, so things going on currently in the village. So we have 2 tenants that are working on occupancy permits. So we have building 5, and we actually had to do a couple things to fix things so they could get the occupancy permit. They needed like new locks, so like the new locks we got, we actually have to replace those with just, we have to take the deadbolt off so it can pass for fire safety. And then like the toilets have to be open front, so it's kind of a big deal. We're doing a lot of work over there so they can pass. And then our new tenant in building 2, State Farm is actually going for occupancy permit. So I'm thinking we'll have around 2 of the same kind of things, which is kind of okay because, you know, the updates are good to have. So that'll be coming up. It's just kind of an unexpected expense. And then we did submit for the 2021 road grant reimbursement. So it was like $17,000 that we didn't get for a grant. So it'll be kind of coming back to us very soon. So we submitted that. We recently repaired our hole on Standish Lane. I don't know if you were aware. And we will be looking at that again with the roads project coming up.
That was a sinkhole. It wasn't like a pothole. It was clear through, just so you know. So it got repaired. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my
It
gosh.
was really
So,
deep.
yeah.
My dog found it.
Yeah.
He fell, he stepped right in it.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it.
So it was about this big, but then Jen said, Ken's wife said, it actually, I think, grew a little bit, so I was really worried. So we got asphalt contractors.
But you can look down and like a foot down, you can see
Yeah.
the ground.
So we'll have to dig out and see during the road repair. We'll have to open that up and see what's going on, if there's something leaking. But just so you know, it was taken care of right away.
And then the sewer grates on Oak Tree Lane, those were repaired in December too, so that's complete. It took a while, but it's done now. And then we did get a minor brick for Kirk Root. So we're gonna have Dresden Landscaping come in to install that so that we have the monument here. Some nice sized brick, 12 by 12. So we're really excited about that. And then as of today, the insurance is renewed for another year. And we discussed this, so it's just up for renewal now. And the sewer and water agreement, we're gonna continue to see what happens with that. Hopefully we get a good response with this letter that goes out and keep the status quo like we would like. And then we had a lot of issues with the full-blown Smith plowing, so that's what we'll
Skip
talk
that,
about.
because we're gonna talk about that, that's on the agenda.
And then, again, this spring, we're still looking into installing the gazebo. So, did you have a chance to look at it?
I'm taking a look at it, but I don't have anything prepared for it, so I will bring that in February this year.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get that gazebo up in the springtime. And also we'll be painting the trim on building 2 as well, because it's chipping. So those are 2 projects that's coming up. And then building 1, we still have the office space for rent. It's been kind of slow. We have an office space, and then we have like a storage space that we're gonna offer to the current tenants. So they need like extra storage, we wanna offer it to them first, just because it's not, the storage space is not like the office. So it's like more like one office, and then maybe we can even rent the storage space with the space in building 1. But we do want to get that rented out as just storage and not like 2 offices. And then after all the siding and limited work is done, I did talk to siding and limited today. They still have to put a window in the gym. Today they were working in building 4 to do the stained glass and we're covering it. And then they need to put another door on building 4. So we had all the doors ordered, but this one had a defect where the anchorage, like, what do you call it? Yeah, the hinges was on the wrong side. So they had to order another door, and so BMV painting is on hold because he wants to come in and do all the doors at once. But actually, I did talk to Sign Unlimited today again, and they are able to put it in tomorrow. So we should be done with Sign Unlimited in the next week or two, which is nice. It's been a long project, so I'm really excited to see fruits of the labor.
Yeah.
So,
Can I ask a question? And building 4, you said something about the stained glass. Is that those glass blocks that are there?
yeah, the little stained ones, the original ones,
Okay, so they took those out and they just put color back in there?
they were covering them.
They were broken.
They were broken?
Yeah.
So they're just covering them up?
Yeah. So they weren't putting another window, they were just covering
Okay.
them. And then for Evergreen Academy, again, they want to do a 5-year lease, so we represent that to them so that we can lock them in for another 5 years. Because their school is not ready yet. So we're happy to hear that they'll be staying with the village for a little while longer. And then the last thing I have on my list, the upcoming events, we'll try to arrange those around the roads project. So we want to start the bidding process, and that's something we'll be talking about next as well. So.
It is a quick question, and I know you mentioned it, I just want to just verify, so we don't have the same issue with the roads where, oh yeah, it's good, here's the check, here we go. So how formally are we closing the signing a limited contract and paying them? Like, is there a sign off or there's an agreement that, I don't know how that's set up to.
Well, we haven't finished paying them, first of all.
Right.
So that's why we're doing a walkthrough,
Oh, I just want to verify, so then, is there, like, I don't.
like a checklist, like a punch list, yeah.
Yes, thank you, that's what I'm thinking. We know I like a list.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
And that's why I included Jeff Lemig to see if he could come through, because there were things that he was not pleased with that he saw in the office,
Right.
that he's like, he wasn't happy, he talked to Kendall, and then Kendall shared with me, and then I just talked to Jeff and said,
Okay,
maybe you should come along with us and give us feedback, because I can look at so many windows, might look good to me, but to somebody who is trained in that and did that for a business, and that lives in the village,
I like to say we make mistakes once, and that would be the road project, so after this, it's like,
yeah, so.
all the people, so, thank you.
Will there be a representative that walks through with you too, from signing unlimited?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we asked them to come along, so we just want to schedule that as soon as they're done. So it'll be a nice group of us, maybe like 5 of us, afterwards or.
Are we noticing any differences in the bills as far as heating bills?
No, I haven't had enough time to see any difference.
So we'll wait and see. Treasurer's report, anything to report?
We have a lot of property tax money coming in, which is good. Can't think of anything else, but it's always good to get a lot of it in those first couple months, so we have money to use the first half of the year.
Yeah. Okay. All right. By the way, the floor was completed down there. They refinished the floor, and there's a lot of rentals in the gym right now, which is good to see, but.
And I should say, it has brought extra gym rentals because of the people coming to play pickleball. So, we're giving them a very severe discount, but I've had 2 people rent it at full price already, on their own, because they know the pickleball court's there. So I really do feel like the marketing there is a positive.
Yeah, that's good, so.
And the hoops are all up and everything's good?
Yes, I want to say one hoop still needs to be maybe adjusted a little bit, because it was a little, did anybody complain about anything?
I haven't had any complaints.
Okay. So, but they look good. I've been in the gym since then, and I'm glad that was a big job, thank you to our maintenance team, because that was a huge job.
What did they do to the floor?
Yeah.
What did you
They,
reseal it or something?
They buffed it out and
Okay.
put the lines down and then resealed it and buffed it or whatever to make it, it hasn't been
Done in a long
refinished
time.
in years, according to John Leonard. And so it needed it, and so they made it look really nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so, all right, moving on to new business. Just a discussion and update of the snow removal company. So, as everyone knows, this is the first big storm we've had this past Monday, and we had one on December 21st. Probably my least favorite job as president, I'm not gonna lie. They are working out some kinks. After December 21st and after Christmas, I asked Dawn, who owns Full Blown Smith, to come in and meet with Lettieri and I. because I just was not, I got quite a few phone calls on the 21st, but also when I came home that night, because it was like our last day of school and I had an event after work, when I came home, I was not happy with the way things went. And I called a couple people, I talked to Charles, I talked to Kendall, I talked to Brian, I think. And I just felt like they did not salt enough. As you know, they came through with a salt truck, but it was 2 people in the back of a pickup truck, which I told Dawn, I'm like, no, that cannot happen. You've got to have a salter. You cannot have 2 people in the back of a truck. And she just said it was because their truck was busy somewhere else. I said, well, I'm just letting you know. She's very nice and very responsive, and she gave me some feedback. I know North Bay is similar in size to us, and they use the same company. They have a 2-inch trigger, so they will not come out and plow unless it's 2 inches. And so they won't salt or plow or do any service unless that 2-inch trigger is matched. That day, they also did not come out to the school on the 21st of December because they thought school was closed already for Christmas break, and I was like, let's not assume anything. All of Racine Unified was still open. I don't think any schools were closed in the entire county. So we gave her a calendar for the school. Her first concern is the school and this area here, and then she will get to our streets and the main streets. She said certainly call us. Like, I was really hesitant on Sunday. I knew there was this big storm coming. I didn't know how much, you don't want to call and say, yes, come and salt. And I talked to Kendall a couple times. I didn't want to come and have them salt and then have them just plow it away if there was snow. So it was, you're trying to play this game of like, well, so we just let it be. I talked to her maybe twice on Sunday. And she assured me they would be at the school. They were at the school. They came and plowed here. They were on our streets early on Monday morning, which was great to see. Then they left, did some other places, and then I believe came back and salted and everything. And I felt like compared to what we're seeing in the city, they did a fairly nice job. Yes, there are some things they could tidy up. I think there's some things in this parking lot they could tidy up. They did not do as much plowing to the businesses as they probably should have. I still told Dawn, not Kensington, what's the one right across the street from you, Laura? Saratoga Court, but the other one, Elm Tree Court. I wasn't real thrilled. I felt like there was still a lot of ice in both of those courts. But I drove through the entire neighborhood. We had one complaint from Mr. Wilda on Oak Tree Lane that he felt it wasn't plowed close enough to the grass and close enough to the stakes. They came back out and plowed that yesterday for him. I went through it and I thought it was fine. Personally, I was like, last year it was, you're too close to the grass, you're tearing up our grass. Now it's, you're not close enough. This is snow, it's going to melt. But I understand their concern. It also was garbage day on Monday. Garbage cans were out. They were going around garbage cans, I guarantee it. Like, I looked and I was like, yep, Charles actually pointed that out to me. But Green Meadow Lane was not missed. It had been missed on the 21st. The biggest complaint besides Oak Tree Lane from just that one resident was everybody was very concerned about Taylor Avenue. And I actually called Ernie on Monday afternoon just to confirm, like, does the city ever help us with Taylor Avenue? And he said it's between asphalt contracting last year and City of Racine would sometimes fight over whose responsibility it was. I did confirm with another resident that they actually saw the plow truck go down Taylor Avenue and do it for us, but I think they only did it in the morning and didn't come back, which doesn't surprise me. And I think that probably then Full Blown Smith thought, oh, we don't have to do that because the city just did it, and then they didn't come back and plow it either. So that was the biggest concern. I know there was an accident on Taylor, and that was concerning to a few residents. I guarantee, yes, the snow was a factor, but also we know people speed on Taylor, and they're not being safe. So I did have Lateria call the City of Racine, who said they've never done the Taylor Avenue, which they just did Taylor Avenue for us. So Ernie suggested maybe we call it to the county to see if they can ever help us, but we'd have to make some sort of agreement because it would be Public Works through the county with us just for that section. My biggest concern with that is if we had full-blown Smith Taylor Avenue, it is going to back up traffic. They have smaller trucks than we do, and Taylor Avenue is busy. So that's what I've got to say. Tell me what you think. What are your thoughts? What do you want me to say? What do you want? Is there anything I can do differently with this contract? I am a little worried about the last bill we got from them, because it is a little bit higher than I anticipated, but they did come out and they said they put down 10,
Oh, this is that one.
they did 10 applicants of salt, which seems a lot.
10?
Well, I do
Wait,
know,
10 full,
like.
That's what they said.
What?
She said,
They want
We
to
put
do
down-
10 times.
That wouldn't I don't know if they would do 10 times, but I did notice that when they plowed, came through and they plowed the first time, then they came around with the salt, and then they came around and plowed again, and I'm like, well, what the hell's the point of putting the salt down?
if
If
you're
you're
going
gonna come by and plow again, that just feels like it's unnecessary.
right.
So I don't know if that's what I thought that is what they did, because when I was driving around a little bit, it,
What's an applicant of salt?
that's a very good question. Is it
Normally they give tonnage of salt or pounds of salt.
I think they charge us for it.
I was thinking they would scoop it back up and put it back in the truck.
That's what I'm wondering, they applied the salt.
I mean, it's only
and
like
it came through
this,
and
but
salted it
still.
again.
Yeah, they did 16 hours more left.
So it just seems a little high, but it's hard. I mean, I'm a little worried about our budget with this now,
Well, and
and knowing
speaking
how much we
of
have.
that budget as well, it's a little more than we thought it was gonna be. How much more would it be for them to be the only ones doing Taylor Avenue?
Right,
Who does Taylor Avenue through Georgetown up into the intersection?
I don't know. Probably the city, probably Mount Pleasant,
Pleasant?
yeah.
And then it's right.
Well, what's
see,
interesting
once
is
Durand
this-
to go
The
across.
city of Racine said we stop at Great Elm Tree, whatever that road is right here.
Yeah, right here.
No, they went all the way up to Maryland.
I don't see why they wouldn't, because they're already on.
I was like, so, and then you could tell that some of it was plowed, and then it snowed. It snowed over here for a while, and well, it snowed on the other side of town for a while.
It would make sense for them just to keep going.
So-
I was wondering what it would be for them just to commit to that.
I mean, this is the city, God only knows.
Well, maybe let's talk to Mount Pleasant.
And Ernie said, Ernie, I'm gonna give you the, would you like to say anything?
It's a matter of responsibility and liability. They're not actually contracted, nor do they have it's not their authority, it's not their liability. Where Racine ends, that's it. Them getting it a few times by somebody just forgetting or whatnot,
Right,
I mean, everything they do is tracked on GPS. They have contracts where they're not allowed to.
that's for the
just do
county
it.
or for the city? Or you think
Both of them.
Both.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's the issue you're up against. The county, to even help you out, you have to have a contract with the county.
Right.
Just to hit the main.
and I
roads.
talked to Raleigh in the county office before about like, we were having trouble with the electrical, like there was a big storm, and he's like, there's nothing really we can do. It's on you to like, I think there was a tree, and he's not going out there with the chainsaw like you've done in the past. But we actually got our maintenance guys on it to help out with that eventually, so.
That's what you're up against on the county side of it, so, and the city side of it. It's just you have to contract with one of them to open the door.
Okay,
So I've been giving this some thought, because I was home, I stayed home that day during the snow, and I was watching it go by, as my husband, who is a resident, was freaking out. Are they gonna come through? Are they gonna come back? This is terrible. Like, any complaint I heard through my husband, so I feel like I got all the resident complaints.
thanks,
So-
Rick.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, how can we go forward going, better? So I am wondering, I have two ideas. One is maybe we need to have, like we have, someone in charge of the weeds and someone in charge of the streetlights. We need something in charge
He's in charge of the roads.
of the roads. But I'm wondering if snow plowing needs to be its own separate world. Because now we're thinking, if we're happy with this, this vendor, if we're not happy, then, we need to pursue someone else and get that process going, which I know is part of it, but I'm wondering, as part of that committee, the other idea I had is setting up some kind of, to try to alleviate, like, if you're getting all the phone calls, if you're out of town, that's.
Well, she was mad because she's like, why are they calling you? Nobody has
Well,
reached
there's
out to
that.
me, nobody's emailed me.
So, I'm wondering.
And I was like, yeah, I don't
So the
know.
other idea I had, and this might be unreasonable, but if we just set up like a snowplow hotline situation, get a Google number that you can text, you can send your pictures to, you can send a voicemail, and there is a record. So then if you know, instead of having some, you know, the phone calls, you keeping track of it, there would be a record of, okay, here are the texts that came in, here's the times they came in. If someone says, yes, they haven't plowed, well, at 1 o'clock, so, you know, this number, this resident called at this address and said that the plow hadn't come through at 1 o'clock. So it's not just like, oh, we think they do, they might not have, it's something along those lines, so there's actually a record of it.
That's not a bad idea.
It would be a matter of promoting it to the, you know, and then, you know, whoever wants to have access to that number, it's free, it doesn't cost us anything. Then it's not like it's all, you know, if, because these things happen on a Sunday, they happen at 3 o'clock in the morning, they happen, you know, at a weird time, so it might just be an easier way to keep record of it. And then if we do have to go back to, you know, our current vendor or a new vendor, you know, and then, you know, we've got, then when if we, you know, decide like, okay, the April meeting, we add to the agenda that we're gonna start either looking for a new one or put in.
Well, we're in contract with them for 2 years.
Even still.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, then by next April, we'll have a year's worth of data, and then when we actually go to them, we can say, okay, here's
I
our
think
expectations.
my biggest concern, like I like this company, but my biggest concern is I feel like they bit off more than they could chew.
Yeah,
And I'm like, can you actually service us? Like, if you can't service us, we need to know because we
Yeah.
need to like shop elsewhere.
yeah, we weren't happy with the last one, we're trying this one, we'll see how it goes, we, in good faith, I think it was the right decision to be made, but, you know, I think a lot, sometimes good, and plus, you know, in the spring and the summer when we're, you know, looking at this, it's beautiful outside, and you forget how, you know, all the little details. So I was trying to think, how can we document this a little bit better, but not have to have somebody with like a notebook, like keeping track of it and making it easier.
I definitely called people back on Monday night. It was fun.
Yeah, but then that could also be, and then, you know, instead of you, then you could, okay, here's the log, and you could call, or, you know, whoever,
Right,
on
right.
the morning, however that works out, then it's not like, you know, someo's at dinner and they get.
I do take advice from Ernie in saying, and Brian said this too, you have to let them do their job. They're
Yeah.
doing the best they can.
Right.
I also reminded many people that I talked to, like, they are doing the best they can. They also are new to our village. They're trying everything they can. We're not the only place that they service. So I definitely was calm and kind when I talked to everybody. And most people were very appreciative to hear things. I think the one resident on Oak Tree Lane, like, sent me 6 emails, and I was like, I get it. There's nothing I can do.
So,
Like,
And that's not.
what's the biggest complaint?
the biggest complaint was Taylor Avenue, truthfully. Nobody else complained about any real, I did not hear a peep. I heard somebody on Saratoga was just concerned that they hadn't been through enough. And I do agree, those 2 cul-de-sacs need a little bit more salt because they are very icy, and we do have some older residents over there. I worry. I'm surprised I didn't hear from anybody else in either of those sections. Everything else, though, I felt like was pretty well done.
And I don't know, 5 inches of snow, right, I mean, that's not a lot. I get the ice, but if you're going from your front door to your vehicle, and you're doing the speed limit, how much bad stuff is really going to happen if
Right.
there's some ice? I mean, that's just me.
Right.
I mean, if you're 92 and driving, God bless you, but you're still not doing 60 down
Right.
Maryland,
So,
you know, I don't know.
I don't know, what do you guys think about Kelly's idea of just having some of them people? I mean, I did throw something up on Facebook, not this time, but the last time, just let them know they would come through with salt, so people would just maybe calm down. I feel like it tends to be the same squeaky wheels all the time, like I'm hearing from the same people every time, and I just have to take that as it comes. But I do listen, and they know that I'm gonna listen, which is probably why they call me back.
And then with something like a joint number then, if they text that number, then you could just send out one text and then everybody knows the same thing too. So it's not like trying to keep track of who you told and, okay, well, you forgot to, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. It might
Yeah.
just, I'm
That's
just trying to
not a
think
bad
of
idea.
ways that might be just easier to handle the communication.
I mean, maybe even if they just call the village office, I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, I feel like people wanna hear a voice though, they don't wanna just leave a message.
And they don't have to, I mean, you can answer if you want to, but it's also,
I always answer.
you know.
And then I told the one resident of Oak Tree Lane to finally just call Latiria, she will take care of it. She's in the office today. So, anything else? Is everybody, like, are you feeling like we made the right decision with this company? I think that's really my biggest concern. Did we,
It's too soon.
it's too soon to figure that out? Okay.
Agreed.
And Kendall and I have talked a couple, like, I don't know, like, there's nothing we can really do at this point to be like, hey, we're gonna go back and see if somebody else can take us on, because we're already in winter. We're just gonna have to deal with it as it comes, and then, I've never done that before, if you're in a 2-year contract and you don't wanna stick with them. I know she felt very overwhelmed. Letiria talked to Dawn from Full Blown Smith. She was very overwhelmed and actually went to get some anxiety meds, which makes me very nervous. Yeah, she's like, I'm leaving the hospital. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, this was 5 inches of snow. This is not, that's why I'm worried that she bit off more than she could chew and didn't realize our needs, even though and I will say this, because I went back into the map. On the map that we gave her of all the areas to plow, Taylor Avenue is on there. So that's the only reason I could think of that he didn't do Taylor Avenue, was because he was at the same point, because Jen is the one that saw him at that intersection when the plow came through. So I think he just thought the city takes care of that. So we will talk about that with them too. Would you like me to have Full Blown Smith do Taylor Avenue? Don't you think? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, do they have any comments about anybody in the village, you know, as far as coming out and talking to them?
No, nobody said anything to them. Somebody did report them when they were throwing salt out the back of the truck. I don't know who that was. Could have been Kelly.
I
Could have been Rick.
I think a few people said,
Could have been Kendall.
So Sarah, I missed that.
I think too, maybe what we can do is get through this season
Yeah,
and talk to Dawn
yeah.
and just say, you have a 2-year contract, but do you feel that you're overwhelmed?
Yeah.
And give her that opportunity to maybe back out.
So remind me of that in April.
Yeah, and then
I'm
we
just
start.
so worried, Laura.
And then we start right away looking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
I have another perspective, so to speak. Look at the first time versus the second time.
I do feel like the second time was better.
Oh, way better,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So,
The other thing that Terry brought up in, Terry Gunn, in our maintenance team, he said he felt, and he called me and told me that he's just concerned that their blades, he's like, you have to keep those blades in good condition. And he felt like their blades are just not in good condition. He doesn't know if they've been serviced enough. So I took that, for what it was as well. I did not ask for that in the meeting. I did feel like she was very responsive. She always responds to us. So hopefully, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
She's a lovely person. She took over this, her husband passed away. And her husband and she used to run this together, right? And then he passed away and she decided she was going to just do it. And I don't know, this is the first year she's done it by herself, is that true? So,
let's
Give
let
her
it,
some,
okay,
let it
so,
read out, yeah.
And the whole thing of like the documenting is, it's not like to be like, oh, here's this longer list of complaints. It's really just more like help them help us kind of a situation.
Yeah.
If they don't know, and if we're, are we throwing all the attention to one squeaky wheel who's, chirping over something like Taylor Avenue that we're overlooked, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Or do
it's
we
just-
really just paying our attention to it.
okay, thank you. I just really needed to make sure we heard everyone. Okay, so the next item up for discussion is the roads project for phase 2. How much money, we cannot, I'm really struggling with making a decision here. We want to go forward with phase 2. I'm assuming. We do not, I know we always are concerned about the lights, but I do think we need to get some of our road work done. We have to make a decision about how much money to borrow, and we don't know how much it's going to cost. They have advised us not to go over 1.2 million.
And that's with the new reassessment from last year, the 1.2?
Yes, as in 2024, you mean, right?
Yes.
Yes.
There'll be another one this year, right? Another assessment this year?
Yeah, yeah. So, I asked Kendall, my biggest concern was, well, what if we borrow it and we don't use it all? But then you've got it, but,
Oh, I don't know, you can pay it back, can't you?
yeah, I suppose you
Yeah.
could.
pay back into a loan.
Yeah, that's funny. So, any suggestions? Because this was really hard for me.
So what are your, the options that you're considering? Is like just borrowing up to a certain amount, borrowing the full amount?
Well, they said they do not advise us to borrow more than 1.2 million, and I just was like,
So So what if we borrow 800 and then it,
And see if that,
And see if, and then borrow more.
More.
Kendall, is that even a possibility if we borrow two less and then can we borrow again?
It would just be a separate loan, we have to go through the process again.
Right, so that's my biggest concern.
Because it's like a 2 to 3 month process of the board approving the amount, then applying, then coming back and having you approve the resolution of the loan and the amount and all that stuff.
This is why I'm like, it's like a shot in the dark. You don't know what you're gonna find under those roads.
right,
I think the sinkhole made me a little bit nervous. I don't think it's gonna be like everywhere in the village. I know when they dug up the first road, we were like very lucky. But that is a newer side of the village than other parts, if you know what I'm saying. Like that was added on in like the 80s, and this has been around longer, so. I don't know.
and there's no prepayment penalty. Is that?
We have to just verify it with the loan.
I mean, I can't imagine that would be, but
And most of them are.
maybe with the municipal one, there's a difference, I don't know.
how much was the first phase?
I knew you were gonna ask that question. I probably have it in the office. Do you remember by chance?
No.
It was more than, it was like 2, wasn't it, or something?
No. It came in way under, remember? Ernie, what was it?
That was 700.
That's what I thought.
7 or 8.
That's what I was gonna say. So
It
I'm-
was like 763.
Yeah, so it did come under.
But things have gotten more expensive since
Mhm.
then. So,
I think it might be better to borrow a little heavier and pay back.
Okay, so what does that mean, 900? Does that mean $1 million?
They're gonna do that little part of Wheel Act and then Kensington River, just get it all done right.
Yeah, that's what we're,
Then we're gonna use a little bit.
well, that is part of phase 2. Have you seen, you've seen, like, we're gonna do Standish, the rest of Maryland. And then that is included in there.
Okay.
Like Maryland all the way through Kensington Court and Wheelock, because it makes no sense to do that road and not those other two. We will not touch Green Meadow Lane, we will not touch Taylor Avenue. But we would touch Standish Lane, which we really do now have to do Standish Lane because, that's where that single is, right by the park.
Well, Sarah,
Toga Court was not done, but the other one was done, across from you, Oak Tree, Elm Tree.
yeah. So we might have to borrow a little bit heavier on this phase.
And then do less the
And
last
do
one.
less.
Okay.
900.
Pardon?
900.
Do you think that's good? Or do we just go for $1 million and then, oh God, it just makes me so nervous.
I mean, I like that number, so the million is, it's not the 1.2, and it's a little extra to make sure we, in case there is a sinkhole issue, because good gravy.
I think I just worry about, things being more expensive, but also
More process.
more problems. That's what I'm worried about.
I mean, as long as we don't use it as, as long as we have this money, why don't we spend it on,
We have to go approve for
Right,
the
we just-
roads
yeah,
and prepay
right.
if we have to.
Then, yeah, I don't.
Now, what does Ayler say about it? I know they had sent something out saying that they didn't think anything over $1 million would be
They just said, we do not advise you to do it
1.2.
to go over 1.2 million. That's all they said. They can't really advise us on anything else, and we won't know until we.
Because they want us to have it like a 10-year plan. It's like, well, we don't have a 10-year plan. We just want to get the roads done.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm
Does Ernie want to say something? Go ahead. I will certainly grant you that access.
The original drawing was a 15-year plan. So technically, if you just submit the original drawing with the blank phasing for 2 and 3, I mean, that would suffice for that.
Okay.
But if I may,
Mhm.
my only recommendation to try and satisfy what you're trying to do with the cost here is usually you pick the contractor that you did the last project with, and you get an approximate value, and that will get you closer to what you need to do.
Okay.
They can do that within the next month to get you the information before your next meeting.
Now, do we have to go with that last contract?
No, you have to do an open bid process for this type of value.
Right.
The process is.
Well, I
handled by
know that
others.
they're planning on doing the bid process for us, just like
Perfect.
they did in the past. So we've already talked to them and had a meeting with them. Okay. All right.
Was that Ayler's or asphalt contractor?
No, that we had, Ehlers. No,
No.
Ayler's is the,
Stark contractor.
yeah.
Stark did it.
Yeah.
Stark did the, yes.
It's
No, no, no.
Subcontracted DK is what I think you were fishing for.
Okay.
So, and so that's the reason why we can't start bidding this, so, because it's a 3-month process, so we have to kind of know what we're gonna spend before we get the bids. That's,
No, we're not gonna get the loan until we know how much it costs.
Right.
But apparently the engineers wanna know how much money we wanna spend before they'll
Oh.
even do anything for us.
so so this isn't like, this is what we are going for, this is just the money that we're anticipating, telling what we think we're going to have available.
You're telling the engineers, we're
Okay.
willing to budget $1 million for this
Okay.
project to make it happen.
Okay. See,
But we're not taking
but
the
they
loan
can't
out until
do
we
the-
get the paperwork.
And they have to do the
Okay,
bidding.
that's where I was confused, because I'm like, are we like putting in the loan now, so we have that before we put the bids in? I'm like, that seems.
So they are taking care of the whole bid process for us, but
Right.
I was like, we gotta put this on here to
So we
get the
just have
ball,
to
we
know-
have to get the ball rolling.
We just have to know.
Because I would like to get this started and not have it last until January.
So how-
Windows.
And this is gonna be for this coming
Yeah.
spring, summer, fall.
Yes. Okay, so,
So then how married to this, for instance, $1 million are we too? So like if the bids come through, we just discuss and then we were like, okay, no, we have to take 1.1 or whatever it is. That.
well, I think, no, we are gonna, if, we are making a decision today to,
Yeah.
to take out a loan for $1 million.
Okay,
For the
that's-
road project. Because, and I know it's backwards, that's why I'm
That's-
having
that's
a really,
why-
I'm
that's why
having a
we're
very hard time with
okay.
it. But it's backwards and you're just kind of like throwing a dart at the wall and saying,
That's
okay, how
why-
much is this
okay,
gonna cost us?
That's why I'm like,
But they need to know ahead of time how much we're budgeting for. And I was like, Kendall, you gotta put this on the agenda, because I gotta talk, I can't make that decision.
okay, so, okay. That's where I'm like,
Yeah. Like a shot in the dark.
What's the
Okay.
rate, like 6 point?
I don't know yet.
You don't know.
Mm.
Because you gotta keep that level too.
We're not gonna really have a big choice when it comes to that, though.
Yeah.
It's gonna be kind of at the mercy of what the feds have done over the
Right.
next 6 months,
Right.
so.
Because you want to kind of keep that tax
Mhm.
rate.
Don't even, make me throw up.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
talking about the municipal tax rate,
Well, yeah,
or are you talking about the loan?
The loan,
rate?
probably the loan
the loan
percentage.
percentage is to like 6.2, 6.3, it's not gonna go up to like,
Probably gonna be looking at pretty high.
that could go up to like.
Or do you wanna not do it?
Oh my gosh.
No, I think we have to.
We have to, we just have to be bold and
So,
say, we're gonna do this.
we are going to take a roll call that I need everybody to agree that we're going to take out $1 million for the roads project, and I would like to take a roll call that you agree with this, so how do you, I'm not good at roll calls. So can I have a roll call that we are going to borrow $1 million for the second phase of the road project?
With the caveat that it can be prepaid if we don't need those funds.
Yes. With the caveat that it can be prepaid with the funds that, with no penalties.
You can kick it off, Kelly.
I'll pick it up. Stein, aye.
Hinkle, aye.
Whatever.
Gasser, aye?
Root eye.
Sharon's aye.
Okay. Full step
All
forward.
right. Next on the agenda, and last item on our agenda, is resolution for approval of accounts payable. Did everyone get a chance to see everything? Okay. Can I have a first?
I'll make a motion to, be the resolution approval of accounts payable.
Second.
First by Stein, second by Hinkle. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, so passed, and we are adjourned at 7:16.